All right, y'all. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We about to have a fabulous show. We about to get it in. And if you are very sensitive, you got sensitive ears, and you don't like talking about the difficult stuff, then tonight is definitely the night that I ask you to develop some thick skin, because we talking about race, we talking about racism, and we are talking about the relationship between communities. We got to have these discussions, or else there is no way that we can progress. We also got our monthly relationship segment that we call the Diva Diaries with our sister, the Dating Pool Diva, who is in the building. We about to get it in, y'all. We excited to bring you the show. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is right now.
It's about that time. It's about that time to get
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying in your hat, stepping. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. Be down with us tonight at 804-402-2893 to be a part of the flagship show right here, live on Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate everybody who is listening to us. I want to thank everybody who took the time to pull out your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, you plugged in TuneIn application, and you searched Legacy Internet Radio. Hopefully you had it saved from last week, but if you're a new listener, then you had to plug it in, and we appreciate you checking in with the flagship show, Legacy Internet Radio, live from the den. We're here every single Monday night. We appreciate it. Appreciate those folks who have checked out our website, www.legacyinternetradio.com. We appreciate you folks as well, and of course, a very special thank you to those folks that are listening to our replays way after today on YouTube. It's because of all of you folks checking us out and listening to us week after week after week that we continue to do these shows. So thank you. As I alluded to right there at the top of the show, we're going to talk about some racial issues tonight. And, you know, I really honestly feel that the only way that we can try to get to a position where we can understand each other and ourselves, for that matter, is to have the discussion. So I'll have more to say about that as we progress throughout the show. I invite any single person who is listening to us, particularly those folks who disagree with us. If you're listening and you disagree with us, we definitely invite you to call us at 804-402-2893. And, you know, obviously we would like to have a fair and honest discussion with you all here tonight. So thank you. At this time of the show, we always like to go around the room and bring in the crew that we have here. And so you heard him assist me there in the intro, getting ready to bring the show to you. And you hear him every single Wednesday night. He co-hosts the Green Room version 2.0 with Jay Grizzy and the First Lady of Legacy Internet Radio, comedian S. Lissa P. That's my brother sitting over there. I see him.
Yo.
That's Jay Grizzy Green.
What's going on, brother?
I'm doing fabulous, man. How you doing?
I'm full, man. All that Chipotle I ate today.
So you gonna just go ahead and pay them for free?
Oh, yeah.
You're just gonna get them that? You're gonna just let them get that?
Well, you know what?
Can we at least get freebies next time?
I'm gonna drop a card off when I go by there tomorrow, because I'm gonna eat it there tomorrow again.
You gonna flirt with the girl and see if she'll listen to Green Room?
Oh yeah, what's up?
With Jay Grizzy and Lissa P? Whoever girl you giving the card to that gave you your.
The girl up at the Chipotle who always is stingy with my chicken.
Hey, look, man, you gotta stand over them and make sure that you.
I'm like, come on, boo. I know it ain't but $8, but hook me up on the chicken, man. Look, you told me what we talking about today.
You ready?
I'm so ready.
You ready?
I'm so ready.
And we are going to move around the room and continue our salutations. Of course, this sister who we haven't seen in studio in quite a while. Of course, we are always blessed and honored. Whatever we have, our sister joins us here on Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. We got our sister, Miss Toyana, is here.
Hey,
what's happening?
Square.
What's going on, sister?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. You doing good?
Good. Yes.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
You ready to rock and roll? Because I'm pretty sure we're going to piss off somebody tonight. You good at that?
Oh, absolutely.
You
piss off? Yes.
You good at pissing people off?
Yeah. I'm in the mood to be pissed off, too. So.
Oh, man. She grumpy, Grizz.
She got the blade on her.
Uh-oh, boy. I hope it's not in the mouth like them chicks in Brooklyn be doing.
I got some added weight on my fingers. So,
yeah. We're going to definitely
talk about that. Look heavy,
we're going to definitely talk about that. So, trust me. We're not going to let you get away. We ain't going to let you get away without talking about that. Of course, she joins us every single fourth Monday right here on Legacy Internet Radio, live from the Den. Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. She co-hosts the second half of the show with me on the fourth Mondays. We call that piece of the show the Diva Diaries. I got my sister, the dating pool diva, Arthur Charisma, is here. What's up, sis?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I got you now.
Okay, you can hear me?
I got you good now.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I heard you were out yesterday having a good time.
I did. I'll share where I was later on in the show and whatnot, but I definitely had a very, very, shall we say, heartwarming event with the most special person in my life on yesterday.
That's great.
So, my little mama was definitely feeling daddy's heart last night. So we're going to talk about that as well. So we got a lot to get to tonight, and we're not going to waste any time. As I alluded to twice in the original opening as well as here in my opening monologue, that tonight's show is dedicated to the discussion of race. And we're going to talk about race here throughout the evening. And Grizz, I want you up first, man. Last week, story broke about a young brother in, I believe it was in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is about an hour and a half west of here. He's a 20-year-old University of Virginia student, and there appears to be conflicting information as to what started the altercation. But the short version, the piece that we do not have in question, is young brother by the name of Martese Johnson. He's a third-year honor student. He's black. He serves as a leadership development chairman for the university's Black Student Alliance. He was charged with obstruction of justice, without force, and public intoxication and swearing. He needed 10 stitches to close the gash in his head that he received from the Alcohol and Beverage Control Police Department outside of a pub there in Charlottesville. Now, I will say that in the pub's owner, in his version of the events, he says that he was there to monitor the St. Patrick's Day celebration. So this was last Tuesday, making sure that underage drinkers did not enter. And he said the ABC had alerted the bar beforehand that they would be, of course, watching them because they're Irish. And that's a quote. Not quite sure how I feel about that. But what he's saying is after a brief and cordial, respectful conversation, he would not let Johnson in and handed him his ID back. Quote, he was just disappointed that he did not get in. He was just acting like a normal college kid. It was very cordial. I actually asked him what high school he went to. Moments after Johnson walked away, the video shows 3 uniformed ABC special agents confronting him. While showing them his Illinois ID, he is grabbed by the neck and pushed face down onto the brick sidewalk just steps from the entrance to the bar. He could be heard yelling that he's a UVA student. How did this happen? He shouted at that point some expletives. And the ABC arrest report describes Johnson as belligerent and very agitated, but the bar owner, of course, contradicts that assessment. So,
white bar owner.
the white bar owner, from what I'm able to gather, the bar was told that the ABC police would be keeping an eye on them at St. Patty's Day because they're Irish. I don't know too many black Irish. I'm sure there's some, but I don't know that many.
I'm gonna claim it. I'm one.
When you hear Irish, it's just like if you hear African, you think of a chocolate person. If you hear Irish, you think of somebody who's person. Not. Yeah,
think of a leprechaun.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sure the panel here in the studio has heard bits and pieces, if not been following the story closely. So I'm coming to you first on this one, Grizz. You're up. What's your thoughts, man?
I mean, first of all, I didn't even know they had alcohol police. I mean, I heard of ATF, but I did not know that the ABC, the Alcohol Beverage Control of Virginia, because not all states have ABCs, but in Virginia, I didn't even know they had cops for that. And then it's not illegal for anybody to go into the establishment. So the only thing I can think of is that they have literally accosted this brother because he was mad because he couldn't get into from what you're reading in the story and what I've got bits and pieces from the story is they abused this kid because he was mad because he couldn't get into a bar.
Right.
And they alleged that he was intoxicated. I guess if you're trained and you're an ABC cop, you can know if somebody's drunk or not. But even if he is drunk, he's not. I think he didn't. I don't think he did anything to warrant the excessive force that was used, which puts in the variable factor of his color.
Well, I think that we live in a time where anytime something happens, I think the fair question that's asked next, particularly with the climate of our country these days, is did his or her color have anything to do with what has gone on to you? I know you've been following this story. What do you think?
Yeah, I have. And just one, you said someone's going to get mad. Okay, well, I am mad already because of the fact that this young man was actually, not sure if he was in charge of a peace rally that was going on prior to the incident, but he was actually advocating for something on the behalf of UVA. And a college student as myself, like us that are sitting at the table as well, we've all tried to do the mistaken ID or the fake ID once in our lifetime to get into some type of an establishment.
Speak for yourself. I've never done it.
I have.
Whatever, yo. I know I have.
And I still get carded, and I don't know why. And I'm the age to get into most of the places now. But I will say that I find it very challenging that this young guy was actually at a rally that was for peace. He wanted to celebrate, I guess, after that, to go into this pub. The pub owner said he could not, due to the ID.
Because he was underage?
He was underage to drink.
Yeah.
So that's okay. That was protection for the establishment to say, look, by law, you're not of age to be in here at these times of services because we're serving alcohol. Now, what happened transpired from the door to the him being face down bloody with, I think it was, and Marcus, you can correct me, it looked like there was 3 officers on this young man.
It was always more than one.
You know.
It was 3 as far as I can tell.
And he's on the ground bloody, but none of them are bloody. So I'm pissed off because I really think that he was probably racially profiled. We don't want to say that word, but it is in our vocabulary. And I think that somebody saw him do something good and really picked him out. I really do.
Diva, what you think?
Yeah, I think it really is a sad state where you can beat somebody down for absolutely doing anything, nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why they brutalized him like that. There was no cause for it. And I don't know why we have all these videos of these occurrences and nothing happens. Like, that's what I don't understand. I would see if there was no proof, there was no evidence. But how can you have all these videos of footage of these people beating these people down with blood everywhere and nothing happens?
What?
That's what pisses me off.
We didn't do anything wrong, is what the coppers would say.
But
they doing their job.
But it's on video that they beating them down.
But y'all don't know we don't know what happened to before the video started going off. Is what they would say.
Well, I'm a little confused, and I'll just piggyback what you said, Grizzy, is that for ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, yes, those are the ones that work with the feds that will, with the SWAT, they would come in, knock down the door, and boom, you deserve to be face down like that. But for the ABC,
the booze police.
I'm surprised, and that I'm a criminal justice major, and pre-law major. I did not know they had that much.
I didn't either. So much stroke.
And enforcement. I did not know that.
They don't.
Well, the piece that I am definitely kind of stuck on is the co-owner of the establishment assesses this young brother as being cordial and not being belligerent like the police report states. And so if that is the case,
somebody lying.
If you see that this guy was, for lack of a better term, in control of the situation until ATF, I almost said ATF, ABC showed up and the cameras picked them up. What happened in the itty bitty time from the time he walked out that front door till they walked up on him? I'll be honest with you.
I think it was piss. Somebody saw some big old copper, some big old copper that's sitting there, can't wait to mess somebody up.
Yeah.
On St. Patty's Day, drunk. Saw that and then said, we got to take him down.
But
and it does, it almost, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It almost seems like the cops are encouraged or incentivize themselves based on color to quickly, use excessive force. Like I can't see a frat guy from what's that Sigma. What was that frat out in Oklahoma?
Yeah,
I can't.
SAW.
Yeah, I can't see that guy getting the same treatment as Martez Johnson got.
Well, I look at it like this, man. The reality is, we people don't like to hear us talk this way. And again, I let off the show by saying that if you got sensitive ears, you just need to get not sensitive ears tonight, because the truth of the matter is, I wasn't planning on talking all about race tonight, but when I was looking at the stories and the things that were going to come up this week, everything was race based. And one of the things that I really, really was stuck on was this brawl that happened with all of these teenagers and these white guys on St. Patrick's Day in New York City. Ain't nobody talking about that.
No.
That's not on the news. We don't talk about how, when there's championships and all that kind of stuff, they burn down cities and couches and all kinds of crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But then when, you got a kid who's a college kid, and let's just say, for example, we don't know, but, there's enough evidence to see that he was probably trying to underage drink.
Right.
Let's just go ahead and concede that. Is trying to underage drink enough to get your ass beat like that?
To the white meat?
I mean, really?
Well,
since we're talking about race.
But
really?
I was in Charlotte during St. Patrick's Day weekend, and my
Charlotte, North Carolina, for everybody.
Oh yeah, Charlotte.
What's up, Chantel? We got some fans down there.
But we were at the Epic Center, and it was at least thousands and thousands, and of course the crowd was a lot younger on a Saturday. And we saw some people carrying people. You know what I'm saying? Like the blind leading the blind.
Right.
And the Charlotte cops were very reserved.
Right.
I don't know if they knew the protocol, what to do, because there was a lot of us, of course, down
people
there for the celebration. So you can't say this is only for Irish people, this is only for white folks, this is only for young folks. Whoever wanted to be downtown to celebrate. So I didn't see the aggressive behavior in a larger city than just in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Let me ask the obvious uncomfortable question, and it's not specific to this, it's more general, but no cynicism, straight answers I want here. And it's going to sound like I'm trying to be funny when I ask this question, but I'm really not.
Okay.
Black people versus other with regards to our relationship with police. Do you think that we are treated differently? And if we are, how, why, and what's the deal with that? And I'm going to come to you on this one first, Grizz. Just mostly because you're giving me the quizzical look, but secondly because you're a black male like I am. I can gather what you're going to say, but I want you to be honest. You know, I don't want to joke about this one because, you know, I suspect that we have some folks listening to us that are not necessarily going to agree specifically with us based upon racial lines. You know, I don't want people to just agree with me just because we black. You know what I mean? Right. And I don't want people to disagree with us just because they white. That's not what I do. If you look at my shirt, you see it says erase racism as a combined word. And the reason why I have this shirt on, when I realized what we was doing today, I want to make this show more about education because plenty of black folk know the deal. We know the deal. We got to add a talk and all that stuff. We know the deal. But I want people to hear it directly from college-educated black people who go to work every day, who take care of our families and our children, all that kind of stuff.
We're not the typical Negroes.
We're not the typical Negro that you may think you're going. We're not the guy that you're going to lock your door and cross the street from. Right. Because there's some white folk that make me scared too. Yeah. So, but anyway, let's. I mean, but in all seriousness, let's. Do you think, to answer the question, what do you think, man?
Well, I mean, yes, you know, as a black man, let me say this first. I'm speaking from a historical point of view, and I think a lot of people like to forget the history of race in this country, and so it's easy for them. When I say them, for people that are not black or not of African American descent, to easily say, well, you know, what are you guys complaining about? You all have overcome so much, and things are better now than it was 50 years ago. But it from a historical perspective, it's almost like it's like we indoctrinated ourselves to believe, especially because we have no power, no political power other than what we have in our own enclaves in America. Because we could use Richmond, Virginia for an example. I mean, we don't see as much of a problem with police officers as far as abusing their powers as far as excessive force in Richmond, because probably since desegregation, we've got a black city leadership and a black police chief. But there were times when Richmond did not have a black city police chief, did not have a black power structure. And so prior to our generation, African Americans knew what to expect from cops, because it's not like this happens out of the blue. Like black folks, people, and I want to, since we're talking about whites, I'll be specific. Black folks don't just typically, or we're not just going to typically say all cops are bad. At least this generation isn't, right? Because we've seen examples of great cop work, right? But why would we still be talking about this, 60 years or 50 years after the civil rights movement, 70 to 80 years after Jim Crow, and all of this? Is because it still is happening, and it's entrenched in the power structure of the police departments and the things locally. And I'm not talking about like on a higher federal level. When we as black people talk about the police department, the police, we naturally assume that they're not there to serve our best interests. They're just not there to protect me. 9 times out of 10, I don't have any real property, so that's not going to be a big. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm running out of words.
It's your word, man. You got
right. It's not a big priority. Sometimes I do that. You notice? I just run out of words. I'm trying to sound smart.
It's all right. It's all
right. But it's not a big priority. Second, if I'm a non-African American cop and I don't live in the community that I serve, and I exclude myself from the community that I serve, I've actually segregated myself. I live in the suburbs or the exurbs. I only come to the hood when it's time to come to work, and I'm low paid. I get harassed. I get called all kinds of names. it builds within myself, especially if I don't have enough of I won't say education, because I think you got criminal justice. You got to have some type of education to be a cop, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Too.
Well, I don't think education has any. Well,
Yeah, but just the training.
Yeah, you have to have some
you're gonna
type
be
of training.
How to deal with people.
My point is that if it was me, let's say Marcus J, we're in a bizarre world, right?
Okay.
We are the privileged. White folks are the unprivileged and been enslaved for 400 or 500 years. We look down upon them like they're they munching off of the goodness of our hearts because we let them pick off of us a little bit, and now we got to go into their ghettos and protect them from killing themselves. And we don't have to deal with them outside of our 8 to 12 hours we go to work. We can go back to our lily black communities and our cul-de-sacs and take care of our family. And we don't see the ghetto cop, the ghetto bird, like we call it. We don't see those things. It's kind of like, it kind of like ferments in your brain, so to speak. I know it would do me. What about you? Would you be like that if you was a cop under that bizarre world?
It has a way of desensitizing you to the feelings of the people that you're dealing with, that you're serving. And even as black people, we can not even make it a racial issue. We can just talk about how we view others. For example, if you are watching the news and they tell you a story about something that's going on in another country, regardless of what those people look like, I mean, if they look like you and you may have a certain level of empathy based upon some of your personal experiences, but overall, you're going to see it, and then right after you're done seeing it, you may not feel much more beyond that. And that might be kind of what you're alluding to with regards to the police who come from outside of the communities into the communities. That's what the song Black Cop by KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions, Diva, was all about. Think about it, Diva. What do you think? Do you think that there is a certain level of discrimination that is kind of understood before they even leave the precinct with regards to how certain neighborhoods are policed? And we don't even have to make it about a race thing, which we know that's the underlying discussion that we're having today. But if that's the direction that you personally choose not to go in, and I respect that, I just want to know.
Oh, I'm going to go in there.
Well, go on there. What you got?
I definitely believe that there's discrimination going on. And it's not just black men that need to be concerned. I mean, black women need to be concerned too, because you don't know what they may do to us. And we're considered the weaker sex. They can have their way with us if they wanted to. Pull us over one night for a so-called speeding ticket, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, no one else is around, and they could pull us over. And what are we to do? And do whatever they want to us at that point. We have no protection unless we're carrying a weapon, and then that turns into a whole nother, issue.
Do we think that it's that contrived? Do we think that it's on the minds of the average police officer to be, shall we say, crooked, for lack of a better term?
I think that they have been trained to profile.
Okay.
Black, white, or other. I think they've been trained that this is the type of person that's a troublemaker. Look out for them and do what you got to do to, uphold the law or whatever. Some people take it too far.
Right.
And I'm sure the department don't want them to be sued, so they don't want them to take it too far.
Right.
But that's what's happened over and over and over again.
804-402-2893 is the number to dial if you think we up in here tripping and you think that you want to add to this discussion and take it in another direction, or if you want to agree with us. I mean, whatever your position is, we respect it, and we'll certainly, get you in here. 804-402-2893. Toyana, what you think?
Okay. And I want to make it perfectly clear for those that know me, know that I am different percentages of races, period. I'm not just 100% African American. But what I will say to my African American side, I think, y'all, we need to understand that our behaviors sometimes put us in those uncompromising positions as well. Unfortunately, we have to act certain ways.
When we're ignorant. That's what you're talking about.
When
we turn up.
Yeah, we can't turn up for what and then expect no one to
I disagree.
not feel feel threatened. Well, I mean, I'm just saying it's their way
or
their way, the Billy Club.
See, I want this to be. This is an open discussion, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, y'all can cut me off whenever y'all want to. My point to that is who determines who cuts it off?
Right, and that's what my point is that I myself know that and it is not about me going to school and studying criminal justice or studying pre-law and knowing the laws and all that stuff. But it has a lot to do with, okay, wait a minute, just for one moment. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would love to go to TGI Fridays to get my drink on. And if somebody step on something, I'm ready to bust their head open. Mm. But I know that regardless, my actions, those consequences are going to follow. Now, whoever sees that, they're going to perceive however may. I could be the victim. You know what I'm saying? It could have been somebody bumping on me or hitting me, and I'm just protecting myself. But it's not viewed that way. It's not seen that way because maybe my reaction to it is not approved enough. Right. And when you are out in public, we as our race are black expected. Black folks, we are expected to either do what? Turn up for what or not. And I think that when it comes down to police, because you asked us, what and why, I believe that police officers or anybody that's in law enforcement that are in a position to protect and serve, unfortunately, remember, they too have to look at the scenarios and put us in that category. Now, does that mean that you are that type of person? Absolutely not. But you got your hat on backwards, and your pants might be sagging a little bit, but you could be the deacon in your church. Mm-hmm. They don't know that until you decide to respond the way, whatever the situation it is. Mm-hmm. I myself, I don't feel comfortable with law enforcement, but going back with what Lady Di says, if I was to be pulled over, I know to have my license, my registration ready, and I'm going to have my hands on the steering wheel. But I'm going to still get hit in the head. But I'm going to still ask the officer, why are you stopping me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to still have to deal with the extra stuff.
I have something to add, Marcus. Can I add something real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like, yes, the police have to do what they have to do. And that, we have different situations, different people that are rowdy, turning up for what. Yeah. But why is there never an officer who comes on the scene who diffuses the situation, who brings it down? Why are they all turned up for what? Because they're a gang.
And the gang is an extreme word, but it's a enclosed fellowship fraternity, which is law enforcement, police officers.
But if you know that your brother man is
I might know that me and Marcus is what's the police officers on Sanford and Son?
Oh, Smitty and Hoppy. I think I know where you're going.
If me and Marcus are on the cop beat and Marcus is the bad cop and I'm the good cop,
right?
I can't really challenge, especially if Marcus is my superior.
There's a couple of different ways that I want to go with this, and just what I was going to say a minute ago, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. I'm not saying that I have a problem with it, but it alluded to something else. And Grizz, I had mentioned to you earlier, and we won't give these people specific shout outs because they ain't paying us. But,
okay.
But when you came in here, I told you about a radio show that I was listening to earlier today. It is a professional wrestler who has a radio show who we grew up with this guy. We love this guy. And he opened up his show today talking about this, which was another, kind of that guy.
Oh, I'm staying.
He opened up the show talking about this, which was another kind of signal to me that it was time for us to have this discussion. And he was talking about the television show Cops, and he had a problem with the show, and he had a problem with the song Bad Boys, What You Gonna Do? And how you have these police that are shown to be superheroes, and he's a professional wrestler. Yes, it's Roddy Piper.
Sorry.
Since you alluded to it, but the point is, he talked about how your natural inclination for some folks is You know, if you mess with me, I'm gonna mess with you. I respect the badge, but if you mess with me, I'm gonna mess with you.
Right.
And when you hamming it up like bad boy, what you turn these police officers into superheroes, and no matter what they happen upon, they automatically are right. Because the truth of the matter is, they human just like you are. There's gonna be times where they just get it wrong. I'm sorry, they just get it wrong. What he also said that I thought was very, very interesting. He talked about how. And I don't know if there's any wrestling fans listening. If you're not a wrestling fan, you're definitely a sports fan. You can kind of understand where I'm going with this. But if you're a wrestling fan, or if you're a football fan, if you're a basketball fan or a baseball fan, you see somebody run out onto the field or into the ring or onto the court or something like that, your natural inclination is to protect an other.
Oh,
we'll say fan because we're talking about sports, but an other.
Right.
Run out into your world. What you gonna do with your brother?
Check him.
What you gonna do with your brother?
Oh,
you're gonna protect
him, yeah.
your brother. You see what I'm saying? Under any circumstance. And so a lot of times this is what you get. And so when we talk about how you don't always get that one officer to come along and diffuse the situation, he ain't coming to protect you.
He coming to check for his
boy. Coming to check for his boy.
Well, protect your job. If you don't protect nothing else.
It's not like that. It's not like that. This is the reason why you have this blue wall that they call it, or blue whatever it is that they call it, where they protect themselves. And the one officer who does the right thing and tells what actually happened, he gets labeled as a snitch or a rat, and he got all kinds of negative consequences. I'm a part of organizations where I understand what it's like, to protect the people who are of like kind.
And dead wrong.
Doesn't necessarily make it wrong, but I do understand the logic. You know what I mean? But
I'm saying if they're dead wrong.
If they're dead wrong, I mean, at some point you need to make sure that you moralistically have an obligation
to yourself,
and to whoever you speak to on a higher level. You need to deal with that. But when we're talking about protecting people, like, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I understand it.
Right.
And we, as the community, we got to understand it as well. And that's where I'm agreeing with Toyana. You got to conduct yourself
a certain way
accordingly. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you want to go home, don't you?
And that to me is something that it is behavior 101. I mean, you just don't decide to go out and get arrested. I hope not. But I think that if you were in a situation that was heated, that hopefully you'll be able to step back and go, now, wait a minute, I'm in Ruby Tuesdays. The manager's white. My server's white. There's only 5 of us black, and that includes the bartender and the bus boy.
What if they mess up your order, though?
Hey, they messed up my order before, and I got to turn up. Y'all see me get turned up with my food.
Hey, ho, turn up.
But
she's the first one to turn up.
I'm the very first one.
Call the police. She turned up.
But I think that, and I'm not following this because I love hip hop, I love rap, I love how we do what we do. But I think that it gets to the point where in our young men's and young women's mind, because it's the girls too, they getting up crazy too. They're the worst. But I'm thinking that our young ladies and men, if you listen to this, you got to understand that, this is not a game. This is not a video game that you're going to get up. We've seen people die from this. You've seen people get permanently scarred from this. So this is not one of these.
Let me get this comment in from Jackie. Jackie's listening to us. Thank you, Jackie. Jackie's representing Philly. We appreciate you, Jackie. She says black people are not the only people who turn up for what? The problem is how we are treated as opposed to other races who turn up. Is a white college student who turns up for what? Beaten to a pulp. That's the problem. 100% agree with you on Jackie. Thank you so much for adding that to the discussion. We're going to move on to the next topic. Before I do that, let me just say this. I kind of agree with what you're saying, Toyana, in this sense.
Will you agree with me?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all got this recorded, right?
I figure out some kind of way to make sure that I disagree with you later, because it's going to give me all kinds of shakes in the willies to agree with you throughout the show. But a lot of the problems that we have comes from the perception that we give off. And I know that sounds odd, but let me try to flesh that out. I mean, when we are the ones who seem to think that it's cool to wear our pants off our asses, hat backwards, I ain't tripping off of that, because Tony Romo of the Dallas Cowboys is known for wearing his hat backwards. So I ain't really tripping off of that, Grizz. You safe with me.
Thank you.
But a lot of it is a lot of thug mentality. And we get a lot of our armchair revolutionary black folks who sit behind a computer and type a whole bunch of real cool, slick sounding stuff on Facebook,
right,
who want to have a problem with how police treat our young black men. And I got a problem with it too. I'm not saying that I don't, but a lot of these problems can be alleviated by your behavior. You know what I mean? You don't go and scream at a cop who pulls you over legitimately. If you got a busted tail light, take your ticket and move on.
Right.
Or drinking illegally.
If you got a drink in the car, you know what I mean? You don't scream at the cop, what the F you pulled me over for? And I've realized that those incidences are few and far between. But what I'm saying is, if you are someone who celebrates negative behavior, you have to understand, if you care, and many of us don't, but you have to understand that negative behavior is going to spill out onto people who are not related to you, that have nothing to do with you, that the perception that many of us are a certain kind of way comes from a small amount of us. Just like you get a lot of white folks that say, well, just because, and this is Virginia, so we know a little bit about this. Just because you rock a Confederate flag doesn't mean that you are against all black people. I've spent enough time in the state to know that a person with a Confederate flag isn't immediately looking to have you swing from a tree. They may not want to break bread with you, but they're not going to dish you to your face.
Right.
No, not to your face.
Whereas many of them will, because I've dealt with them too, and I prefer them. Personally, I prefer you call me the N-word square to my face than behind my back. That's just me. So we just need to be aware of that. I got a story that I wanted to share with you guys. I want the diva up on this one first. I'm getting this one from the Huffington Post. I wish my co-host S.Y. Butler was here to say the Huffington Post, because we miss her and hope to hear her back soon. Yeah, I didn't do it nowhere near as good as she does. That she does, and hopefully we'll have her back here soon. But this one is about a mom who called the police to help her teach her sons a lesson for stealing, and the cops end up arresting her. Taisha Mobley, she's from New York City. She took her kids. Her kids were taken away from her for 4 months. One day last April, she's a 29-year-old. She discovered that her youngest son, Keyshawn, had taken $10 from her purse. She wanted to teach him a lesson, so she called 911. She figured in her mind, who better to help teach her kid a lesson for stealing than the local police. 4 cops showed up to the crib. Her and her kids met them at a nearby gas station. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. 4 police officers responded. They didn't show up at the crib. They responded. She met them at the gas station. 3 of them was joking and kind of took it in stride. There was one particular cop who was clearly upset by the whole situation. Now, these are direct quotes from the mom, based on what her experiences was. But she's saying that the officer said to her, quote, "You black bees don't know how to take care of your kids. You need to call the kid's father, not me. We can't raise your kids. Why are you wasting our time? We aren't here to raise your kid. Why don't you take your effing kid and leave?" is what she said the police officer said to her. Seeing how upset the officer was getting, she decided to take Keyshawn and her other kid back to the apartment. "Oh, where do you think you're going?" the officer said. After she tried to leave, he then grabbed her, threw on the cuffs, and locked her up. She pleaded to know why she was being arrested, and she says that he said, "If you're going to say another effing word, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat." Another officer drove up to the scene, rolled down the driver's window, and said, "We're not supposed to act like this," talking to the very aggressive police officer. Where that guy responded, "Black bees like that, this is how I treat them." This is, of course, the mom's account of this whole situation, and obviously she's suing the police department. A lot to kind of talk about here. Dave, I want you up on this one first. When you hear this story, a lot of the negative discussion that was had between the officer and the mom. If you want to comment on all of that, feel free to do that. But what I really want to attack and what I really want to discuss was what she did that precipitated this whole interaction.
Right.
Her 10-year-old stole $10, and in her mind, I want to try to break him out of that. I figure I'd scare him by calling the cops.
Right.
So we can start there, and then I want you to address that, and then anything you want to address after that, feel free.
Okay. I definitely think she went too far with that. I understand her wanting him scared straight, but in this day and time, when people are getting beat down, you know, this is not the time to be calling the police to help deal. Her son could have gotten shot and killed because they just felt like doing it. It wouldn't be the first time. You know, so you took a big risk to try to teach him a lesson.
911.
Unless I knew the cop, maybe if I had a cop friend,
Smitty and Hoppy.
you know, Smitty and Hoppy, that I know not going to hurt my son or me, then I wouldn't have done that.
Right, Grizz?
It's a little too much for me. Call an uncle. You might not, if you don't know who the dad is, call an uncle, call a cousin. Discipline them yourself, you know. If you're the parent, but calling the cops for $10 is a little bit excessive. What is that?
New York.
In the city?
New York City.
She's a little local.
She lost her, and it's the piece that I didn't mention, she lost her kids for 4 months. Remember, she got arrested.
Yeah, she a little
And
local.
so they arrested her, and she lost her kids for 4 months. Toyana, what you think?
It's crazy.
Go ahead, say it.
We don't
ghetto-
have-
it's your ghetto mama.
She know, you know we don't have steps, so you can say whatever you want.
You know what? I think me personally, instead of calling the cops, I think that as a parent, which I am not as of yet, but if I were in this scenario, I would probably drive my son to the police station.
Do a scare straight like that.
And do it like that, where I would have a little bit more witnesses. Just get him in the car and just go. I'm like, hey, you know what? Since you want to go to jail, I'm going to take you myself. I don't need anybody to pick you up. I'm going to take your ass and drop you there.
Imagine that car
that's a what
trip.
the hell moment. You know what I mean?
I got you.
You know, and say something so I can tell the cops that I feel threatened. You know, I mean, those type of things.
Right.
But what I do want to say about this scenario is that in the story, and this is Huffington, I know, but for the cop to kind of go crazy, it's as if the story got cut off somewhere. Like, how can you start joking with her son, and then all of a sudden...
Well, 3 of the cops were lighthearted,
know,
and it was the last one who was kind of cold-blooded about it. The charge, just to kind of put a bow on it, was child endangerment, surprisingly enough. Was ended up being dismissed a few months later, but her life got turned upside down. The kids were put into foster care. They ended up with a Spanish-speaking family. The soul language was Spanish. And during a visit, she actually observed her child being abused by the foster mom. So it's just so much here. And I would, you know, I actually agree with everybody, Grizzy and Diva. You know, I agree that calling 911 is kind of not the way to go about it. And Toyana, I think you had a fabulous idea of actually taking the kid to the precinct. I never even really thought about that. But what I will add is, you know, because we are fortunate people to have strong men, strong black men in our families, you know, Grizzy and I, of course, being examples of that more specifically. A lot of sisters don't have that. And I don't know that, like, I know sisters personally who don't know any guys that they could have done this with. Like, who would have been that uncle or that cousin? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know some sisters who in their mind, whether it's true or not, in their mind, they don't know nobody that they could have.
Call up the local drug pen and be like, come with my boy.
But see, I guess the point. I guess the point I'm making is, you know, while I think that her decision to call 911 for this was pretty stupid. I mean, that it's pretty damn
for
stupid.
$10.
It's over. Yeah, I mean, I get she was trying to scare a kid. I get it. You know, I think it was pretty stupid. I just have a hard time with there being such a lack of common sense being used by so many people. And now I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the police officers because she did the wrong thing. I don't think there's any logical tax-paying voting person who goes to jury duty when they call you, any logical person is not going to think that she did the right thing here. However, your response to that is to cuss her out, and when she looks at you funny because you just cussed her out, is to throw the cuffs on her. I mean, come on, man, really?
But okay, if she would have beat her child's butt
They'd have
for
been there for that too. They'd have been there for that
she's
too.
gonna be there. So I might as well take your ass down there and say, you know what? I want to file an incident report. Yes, I want him or her, whoever, to know that this is what you're going to get just for $10, $1, $100, $1 million. The point is, we don't steal in the household.
This is what I mean, or Diva, you alluded to this, and I've said this many times when you mentioned earlier on about there's no one around to diffuse situations. And I think oftentimes other communities get benefits of the doubts that we don't get. You know, you can look around. I had this debate. You know, I got a sister of mine who is a white female Republican who keeps me honest, and I love her because we have great conversations. And I hope she's listening, and if she is, I encourage her. She likes to remain anonymous, and that's fair as well. But I would encourage her to participate tonight, you know, the way you and I could, you know, always, you know, communicate, and I'll keep you anonymous if you want to comment on any of this. But what I always run into when I have these debates with anybody who is not emotionally invested in these stories, emotionally meaning you're either black or very sympathetic to the stuff we go through, or directly invested, is that it just seems like we never get the benefit of the doubt with stuff.
No, we don't.
Nobody ever gets the benefit of the doubt when I can sit here and come on the radio and read the names of 20 black men, just the names that I had. And that's not all of them, but just the names that I had who had been killed by the police just in the last 15 years. When you cannot do that in any other community. I'm not talking about just white folk. I'm not talking about Asian folk. You can add them all up. You know, and you're still not going to see the numbers. And, you know, I was told, well, it's sensational because the media and people like you, and my friend didn't say this to me, but I did get another inbox, a person who said this to me, is people like
white
me,
person.
People like me who always want to be talking about this
race
stuff.
betas.
We are known as race betas. And I'm just like, you know, you can sit around and act like this shit don't happen all you want. But the truth of the matter is, closed mouths don't get fed.
Right. You got to speak up.
Period. Ain't no how to step on Marcus J. Last thing I want to get to in this segment, keeping with the racial discussion, Toyana. This one pissed me off. And every single week, there's always at least one story. This story's kind of rile me up, but there's usually one that pisses me off. I'm getting this one, surprisingly, from Army Times, armytimes.com. Toyana, this one is about the Army investigating what they call racial Thursdays at their unit.
Oh.
Racial Thursdays. They're investigating allegations that a platoon of soldiers were given free pass to use racial slurs against each other during what is known as Racial Thursdays.
Okay.
The soldiers belong to the 2nd Platoon C Company, 3rd Battalion, 21st Infantry Regiment. Man, I'm glad I'm reading that. I would have never remembered it. One of the members, of course, snitched. The battalion belongs to the 25th Infantry Division, 1st Stryker Brigade Combat Team at Fort Wayneworth, Alaska. I'm glad I'm reading that as well. Quote, when I first got to the unit, someone said we should do Racial Thursdays because it's been a tradition, said the soldier who asked to remain anonymous. It's something they made up where you can say any racist remark you want without consequences. The platoon sergeant said no, but the shit's still going on. End quote. The soldier, a staff sergeant, added, it's degrading to the soldiers. We've had soldiers almost fight over the crap that's going on. The NCO, who is black, said no one has directed any slurs toward him because he made it clear that he would not participate in the practice. Basically, translation, the brother ain't going for it. Toyana, you're up first. What you think about Racial Thursdays? And I'm sure if it's just at this one platoon, come on, man. It's not just at this one platoon. This is just my opinion, but it's your turn to share yours. What you think?
Can I say my saying?
Yeah, go for it.
What the hell? What the hell?
I say it, but I don't say it like how you say it. Say it again.
God, what the hell?
All country and stuff.
This is so stupid.
H-A-A-A-A-I-N.
somewhere.
What the hell?
Okay. Okay. First of all, we were just talking about, secrecy, the brotherhood, and all that stuff. So that's not going to go away. Do you know what I mean? That's just a ritual or something that this division has participated in for whatever reasons.
Right.
Behooves me. However, why is it that it's no disciplinary action? Because I think what you said, a sergeant said no.
The NCO.
The NCO said
The NCO, right?
said he ain't going for it.
So I'm not military friendly on this, but is that
The boss, man.
He's basically the boss. He's the
boss.
boss of that unit.
Okay, so he's already said, hell no. So if I had a conversation with Grizzy and he said something to me on racial Tuesday or Thursday or any day, because it don't have to be that damn day, just any day,
Super mulatto over here.
I should be able to go to the NCO, right?
Right.
And do a complaint.
Right.
Now, is that wrong, or is it because of the fact that it's just so close knit,
Right.
that everybody, if you just under, cheek and tonguing it, and that's why now we're just hearing about it?
Right. Well, what I can tell you, the rest of the article alludes to that currently there's an investigation going on based on the result. This is a quote: based on the results of that inquiry, and if the evidence supports it, the commander, usually the brigade commander, can elect to conduct a 15 to 6 investigation. Basically, what they're saying is, if you get a certain amount of people that says it's going down, then they'll go ahead and they assert discipline based upon that. I will add, Diva, that a young man by the name of Danny Chen, Private Danny Chen, belonged to C Company, same group here, and committed suicide on October 3rd, 2011, while deployed in Afghanistan. Authorities said he killed himself because he was hazed over his Chinese ancestry. When you hear a story like this, what are your thoughts?
That's really sad. I mean, military people already have to deal with so much anyway, and then have to deal with that within your unit of people that, like you said earlier, is supposed to be your brothers, supposed to be there to back you up, and they're calling you all kinds of racial slurs. I just think it's really sad, and I think the NCO officer, like Toyana said, needs to be, checked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are supposed to be over these people who are still getting away with it.
Right.
And where's your power? Where's your authority? They're not going to respect you. You don't even, stand up to your own word.
You know what I think, Grizz? When I hear stuff like this, man, I mean, we're men. We played at dozens. We crack, all that kind of stuff. But there's certain things that are kind of off limits. You know what I mean? Like, at least they should be. And I know you as a comic, you as a comic, it might be a little bit difficult for you to have certain things that are off limits. Joy is listening. Joy said, "What the hell? Why?"
Hey, yeah, what the hell?
Joy said, "What the hell?" And Michelle K is listening as well. Shout out to our sister Michelle K for listening. When I hear stuff like this, what I wonder oftentimes is, why would you make a point of trying to be mean spirited? Like, why would you have a day set aside just so that you could be mean to people? Like, seriously. I mean, it's one thing if you crack it. Grizzy got on a dirty hat. Charisma X, Toyana Y, Marcus J is short. I mean, there are things about all of us. But you got to put
the race into it.
But there's things about all of us that we may be a little bit, may not want to have the spotlight put on. You got to set aside a day just so that you can talk shit to people?
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree with setting aside a day, but in regards to this, my creative, funny, open, nothing is off limits self says that it's okay.
Okay.
And that's just because you can only pull that stuff off with people who are comfortable with talking about race, B, comfortable within themselves, and they don't have a very thin skin. And what I will say to that, just to kind of temper it a little bit, is that if it took one person in that company saying I got a problem with it, then I wouldn't do it. I've done shows in comedy where the house controls what subject matter is talked about.
Right.
What if you're blue comic, what 4-letter words you can say, what type of subjects you can't talk about. And so if that's the rule, that's the rule. You don't do it. You might want to, because it kind of helps convey the brutal honesty that you might feel. It might be wrong. Like you said earlier, you have no problem with a redneck calling you the N-word straight to your face. First, he's being honest, and then he's letting he's giving you the ability to understand, and you don't have to guess with him.
Right.
You know where he stands.
I just want to know. Okay, this is, and I'm thinking outside the box. I like to know, well, if they were honest to say what goes on in their area or their department or the military branch on Tuesdays, I like to know who else got these little sidebar conversations on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you an example. That same wrestler, since you let the cat out of the bag, Roddy Piper, this morning, I was listening to him. The other thing that he said that is also very, very pertinent to this piece of our discussion, he was talking with another fellow wrestler.
I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah, don't say his name. But he was talking with another fellow wrestler, and they was talking about ribs. And you know, for non-wrestling fans, a rib is a joke. You pull a gag on somebody, and a lot of those ribs that they would do
is inside baseball.
A lot of those ribs may not be something that you are okay with. So if I pull a rib on Grizzy and Grizzy ain't for it, I get whatever Grizzy feels that he needs.
It's coming back.
but it's not another rib. He might want to punch me in the face because he don't play like that. You see what I'm saying? So when Racial Thursday comes along, like me, Marcus J, like seriously, I would be that cat. I don't play that. So I would be like the NCO. Like, so if you come at me the wrong way,
you gotta expect. You gotta know what to expect to come out.
It might be a problem. So that might be something to think about. You know, and I ain't trying to throw darts at the military. You know, we appreciate them for their service and we thank them and all of that. But you know, just because you serve, don't mean that you getting the pass to be an ass. And the same goes with you, Mr. Officer. You're not getting the pass to be an ass because you put on the badge and the shit's dangerous. You know what I mean? If it's too dangerous, go do something else. Because a lot of those officers, and this is real talk, I've gotten this from other officers. This ain't my opinion. I've gotten this from other officers who tell me that many of their own brethren was a punk coming up in the hood or coming up in the neighborhood, wherever they were. And now that they got a badge and now they got a gun, they got the license to be big, tough guys, and now they get to be the police officer.
Well, I just want your mama Mondays then. your mama Mondays.
Your mama Mondays.
They don't have Steppin on your mama Mondays.
You'll kill you over your mama, Joe.
You're a mess. They know how Steppin Marcus J live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio.
Your mama Grizzy is.
We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a family who had a problem with a Black History program. We're going to talk about Starbucks. If you like coffee and you hang out there, even though they ain't paying us, you're definitely going to want to hear this story. Before we come back from the break, we're going to have a word from the minister. That's right. Minister Louis Farrakhan is joining us here on Ain't No How Step on Marcus J. I got Toyana, I got Jay Grizzy, and I got the Diva. Ain't No How Step on Marcus J. Be back in a few minutes.